friends, welcome back to my channel and welcome to a top 3 video. I have been seeing these go around for a little bit now and some of you guys have been asking for me to do this video. What are my top 3 in each category? Primers, eyeshadow palettes, that one I'm not even gonna lie to you, I still have 4 on my desk because I could not get it down just yet. Hopefully I get there. Also, I found powders was really hard for this oily skin girl to pare down to a top 3, but I have done it. These are the top 3 in each category for me of the moment, and I feel like I have to say of the moment because you know your girl kind of transitions stuff through seasons because of my skin type, but also just makeup preferences and things like that. So this is my current top 3. Maybe I'll do this again in an opposing season when it's like winter, but this is where I land right now with my top 3. So I love to tell my friends to grab your tea, grab your snack, get comfy because I am a long-winded girl and we have a lot of makeup to get through. Cheers! I went a little full glam for you today too, popped on some lashes, because as I was pulling out some of these things, I was like, oh, this is my favorite, but I haven't used it in maybe a couple of months because I've been trying some BoxyCharm things to review for you guys in quarterly reviews. So I have even more makeup on my face today than I even anticipated doing because I just kept getting my fingers in the makeup, and I love kind of going a little zhuzh, a little glam on just a regular day. So we can do that for ourselves, and I can give you so much information on what's coming up. Starting with the primers, I had a tough time in this category because I feel like I've been trying to use up some things in my collection. As many of you know, I do live tiny, so I'm more minimalistic with what I try to keep on hand. So I was even kind of like rattling my brain going, okay, are these my top 3 for realsies or just what I currently have? And I think I've landed on a pretty great trio here. For primers, I have to start with a drugstore item, specifically because you know your girl loves an inexpensive moment. I love when makeup doesn't break the bank, but it is high quality, it compares to the high end, and I have to tell you that the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer definitely made my top 3. This primer is definitely panned. I've definitely like hit bottom on this, and I'm working on the outer perimeter of this product now. As an oily skin, big pored girl, I have reached for this for so many occasions. Summer, winter, fall, basic look, full glam look, you name it. I also love the shelf life on this because I have been working on her for a little bit and I don't even feel like I need to go replace her yet. I still have plenty of product, as you can see. She's just definitely well loved. There's like a whole top piece of this completely missing and I'm down to the bottom. So that tells you that's an endorsement, right? I have used her up a ton and I'm still working on her. Love this formula. I think it doesn't make my skin pill when I'm putting on foundations, whether it's high coverage or more minimal, or even just one of my tinted moisturizers. It works like a dream and it's so inexpensive. Thank you, e.l.f. Okay, I'm now gonna go a little high end from that, but maybe not as high end as you think. The main item that was really compared to this baby for a long time was the Tatcha Silk Canvas, and I do love that. I do have a small mini version in my collection, but I would not say it's not bad. It's definitely in my top 5, but this isn't a top 5 video. This is a top 3. So I needed to tell you the absolute truth of it, that if I'm not reaching for that, I am reaching for the Tarte Timeless Smoothing Primer Base. And I've definitely not hit as much with her yet, but she was coming into my collection a little later, but there's a huge dip in there if you can see. This is a very high quality putty primer or smoothing primer. I'm sure they all have their terms trademarked, utilized for each thing. I do still love this. This is a very creamy, buttery primer that I can press into my bossy upfront pores because mine like to live right up here, right where they're front and center and everyone can see them. So I can just kind of like press this into my skin, give her a beat, and then move on, and I really feel like I am protected. Now, I don't have any of my favorite primers on today, so I'm feeling, maybe that's why I went a little bit more glam today to distract from that, but it is because I just got something in from the Ulta 21 day sale that is a crazy high value, and she's an Invisiblur primer that's got some SPF in her if you follow me on Instagram. And if you don't, you can follow me right here to get the latest behind the scenes. Because if you follow me on Instagram, you may know what I'm talking about, but we're not talking about that in this video. So you're going to have to stay tuned, be subscribed, click the bell so you know when I'm going to give you some updates on what I did purchase and some things I'm trying. But moving on now into another primer that I do really think is great, and I'm a little brokenhearted that when I'm filming this, I'm in the middle of September and this is the last month to purchase from Becca because she is closing and I'm so sad about it. But hey guys, Editing Nicole here. Really quickly, I have to pop in here because I could not believe it. As I was getting to this portion of the video, I got an email from Becca and they were saying that some of their ultimate favorites are going to be moving over to Smashbox so we can get the highlighters, the under eye brightening corrector. I love those things. Now, I don't know if everything that I love that I'm talking about is going to be able to move over to Smashbox like the primer I'm discussing, but I couldn't believe that we're actually still going to be able to get some stuff that we love from Becca, but now through Smashbox. I will be linking below everything I can for you for this, but I had to jump in here to tell you. Okay, back to the video. But I do have a backup of my favorite. This is the Becca First Light priming filter, and this is something that I came across in a BoxyCharm pop-up, went out on a limb just to try it because I knew I had heard about it in years past of how people loved her, and then I understood the hype. I fell in love with her. I think this is maybe my third of this, and I do have one in my backups because when I did hear Becca was going to be going away, as soon as I think it came on an Ulta like half off sale, I did purchase a backup because she's leaving. She's leaving. And I, went a little Becca crazy this year, maybe in my year-end videos when I kind of, survey the drawers over there. I can go through more of that with you, but this is something that I do love, and I will be sad when I've used up both of my last ones because it really gives this radiance to your skin. It doesn't necessarily like a pore filling like everything else I've been talking about, but she makes your skin look glorious. Even if you're not wearing makeup, even if you're just having a very minimal day maybe, this makes your skin look healthy. It gives it a glow that I probably shouldn't keep talking it up because not many people can buy it anymore, but I love her. Love her, love her, and it comes through with the makeup. So even when you're wearing makeup, that radiance, that beautiful juiced up healthy skin glow still comes through. Love her. If you find her in a TJ Maxx, a Marshalls, or all the places that you can get discounts on high-end makeup, I suggest trying it. If you have skin like mine, you could love it. Moving on to the foundation category. Now, this is where my heart is landing this year for sure. And some of these probably will not be a surprise to you if you follow me in my like monthly wrap-up videos where I'm telling you my faves, telling you my worsts, because I've been pretty consistent with foundations for a while, and I have been trying things here and there, so it's not even like there's not been any competition in my beauty collection, but I like what I like. My skin likes what she likes, and whatever makes her look blurred, a little poreless, less oily through the day, I love it, and I'm gonna talk about it with you. Should we start with high end this time and go the other way, or should we go with drugstore and work our way up? Let's go to drugstore and work our way up. How many of you guys remember when I was first introduced to the CoverGirl Olay Simply Ageless foundations, and then I couldn't shut up about it, but I was always on the hunt for my perfect match. So I would go every month to try to find one more like different shade to mix and match with it, because they do tend to lean a little bit more yellow or a little bit more pink, but the finish is beautiful. I love how my skin looks. This is a drugstore favorite for me. I think I have maybe 3 or 4 currently in my collection right now because for me it is still warmer out. I do still have a touch of a tan and I kind of need to mix and match some colors, but I'm not even upset about it. When I'm willing to buy duplicates to get a great shade in a small space that has limited storage, that tells you something is hitting home for me. The finish on these foundations is outstanding. It still allows my natural freckles to come through. It still lets my skin be a centerpiece. It doesn't look like there's too much. It just absorbs so beautifully into my skin that it covers imperfections and flaws, and it just makes me look like me, but a healthy, evened out me, and I love that about this formula. And I feel like the Olay in it just makes me feel like I'm also doing something even better for my skin. It's got a little bit of the hyaluronic complex and vitamin C in there, and my skin just drinks that up. And if you didn't know, now you do. Another drugstore favorite for me, but it's more my favorite when I'm wanting a high coverage look, but I have leaned into this kind of throughout the year as well, with just a touch here and there, and then I've mixed it with my CoverGirl or maybe just a tinted moisturizer to kind of sheer it out just a bit, but still have a flawless face. This is a drugstore baby that can be polarizing. Some people like it, some people don't, but for me, it will really keep on my makeup even under a mask. This is the Milani Conceal and Perfect foundation. It is a 2-in-1. It's a foundation and a concealer. My shade here is the one I keep reaching for. This is in the shade 03 Light Beige, and this tends to be the one that I can make work for most of the time. It is a touch darker for me, so I do tend to kind of like I said, marry it with maybe a couple other things or sheer out the formula, because she can be kind of thick. But I don't mind a thick girl, I'll tell you what, because when I'm wanting to look flat out flawless, when I don't want to see anything on my skin, which has been a little less this year, but when I do want that, or I want that finish where it still makes me look like I have just a nice filter on my face in real life, she does a great job. Now, I know some oily skin girls tell me that for them, this makes them look a little too shiny in the afternoons, and I can understand that. And maybe because I do have a lot of great powders, I notice that less. Or maybe it's just as my skin's transitioning as I get a little older. Maybe I am because I am going through menopause. Maybe my skin is a little less oily than it was. I'm still not totally sure on that, but I can tell you this is something that I have used when I want to have a flawless face all day long. She will still look good 8 hours, 9 hours in, and my face looks like I had just put on all my makeup. And some days you just need that. All right. How many of you are waiting for me to get to this third one because you already know what my high-end one is? I've never paid the full $45 for her, specifically because I learned about her through BoxyCharm add-ons and pop-ups, and I think because this formula isn't great for everybody, she has been on sale on the Natasha Denona Ulta site. Which one is it? One of the two. Because she's been like $22.50 now for a while, because I think this just doesn't work for some people. This is the Natasha Denona Transformatte Pore Vanishing Foundation. I have one more of this one in the shade 40N in my backup drawer because this one is almost empty, and I have a deeper shade 45N neutral. This is the foundation that helped me to understand I do have a more neutral undertone, and that might be why I do have a harder time with some of these drugstore items that maybe have a limited shade range, because they tend to lean a little yellow or a little pink, and I'm way more neutral. This foundation, though, besides being a great color match for me, also, it does it for my pores. And when you have bossy pores and oily skin, the Transform Matte isn't too matte. She's not as matte as this girl. Let me tell you, this girl will be like, you need to look like a pancake. This girl will help you out with some powder. Unless some of you in the afternoons notice some shine, which I get that. I've had that too from time to time with this. But this girl, no. I don't see any shine halfway through the day, which works great for my oily skin. But the fact that she's pore vanishing, that was not even a joke. There have been times I've not needed to reach for any of these types of pore filling primers with this, because I was really putting her through the ringer in the beginning stages of our love affair, and I'm obsessed with her. I cannot believe how good my skin looks, and you still can see my skin. This product allows you to still see the freckles, because I do have quite a few freckles, but I also cover all of my imperfections with her with just like a coat. I don't need to overdo it. I prefer to use this with a damp sponge, whereas some of these, if I want to, like with the CoverGirl, I can use a brush for a little bit more layered up look. But I can use a damp sponge. I can use a brush. I think I really do prefer the sponge though, the wet damp beauty sponge. This makes my skin look flawless. Makes it look great all day long, not just like through the mid part of the day or after Zoom calls are done by 3 or something. No, I still look put together in an evening dinner with my husband. I still look great going out, and my skin looks like skin. I love that. I love her so much. I'm gonna be sad when I'm guessing because this has been discounted for so long, I'm guessing she's gonna be going away eventually. Why does everything I love have to disappear? Becca, now this, I don't know. But I do really enjoy this. And you've heard me talk about her a lot this year. I need to shut up. Concealers. Concealers, I had to take a beat with this one. Not because I don't know what I love, but because I feel like I have been trying a lot of drugstore this summer specifically. I felt like I was kind of talking about the same things over and over when it came to some of my base makeup. So I wanted to get out of my comfort zone this year, go to the drugstore, see what's around, and I've gotten to try a lot of great things from various drugstore brands. But I today went back a little bit. Am I exhausting you, Cooper? Cooper is exhausted with me. Could you guys hear him? He's just sighing so heavy over there like, Mom, stop talking about the concealer. You always talk about the concealer. Concealer's important to me, as you know. But I wanted to revisit some of the things that I knew I couldn't stop talking about, and I know I'm really low on anyways. I haven't been able to touch some of my OG favorites that I loved like last year that I couldn't shut up about, but you know, I wanted to try other things. So this morning I put on the concealer that I can't get away from. I can't quit you, and I don't want to quit you. And I have a feeling I'm going to need to purchase a new one soon because I've been scraping the sides of this one for a while, and it's probably what kind of triggered me to start trying some other drugstore versions because I'm like, let's find something a little less pricey, Nicole. But she's probably still my ultimate favorite, and I have to tell you about her. The Too Faced Born This Way Multi-Use Sculpting Concealer. She conceals, she contours, she highlights, she retouches. She's got a long list of claims on her, and it is 1000% legit. Mine here is in the shade Pearl. This is actually my second one because I think I also had vanilla when I heard, I think Andrea Mattiliano talk about it. She and I have very similar skin types, so I trusted her reviews, and this is my second tube, and this sucker goes a long way. How much is in this baby? This is a 15 milliliter or a half fluid ounce, and I use her, like I said, I can't believe I'm on my second one because you get so much product, but I kind of went away from her. As you can see, I have a lot, I'm scraping the sides, totally scraping the sides. So that's why I wanted to try some more drugstore this year, and I'm glad I did because I found some amazing products. But reaching back for this, I kind of thought in my head some of the things I was using was more of a dupe for this, but maybe drugstore version. Now that I have this on and I can see how my under eyes look, I'm going to have to purchase another one of these when this goes away because I have so much less creasing, so much less breaking apart already. And I kind of thought it was because it was summer and maybe because it's so hot and humid in Florida that my under eyes were really breaking apart kind of in that August time frame. But really, I kind of think these concealers I'm about to tell you I still love are good, but just not as standout as this. And if you have any under eye creasing or just some fine lines in you, sometimes it's worth it to kind of splurge a little bit on things that are going to keep you together all day and not let things break apart. Because that's what I was really noticing on my under eyes and on my nose. Because I do tend to do just a little stripe of concealer down my nose for a little bit of highlight or a little bit of just some coverage because you're wanting to keep that makeup on all day. But these were not doing what this one can do. Just telling you. I still love this and I love these. But this one may be my number one this year. I'm going to have to do a little bit more investigating before year-end videos, I gotta say. The thing that I've been using the most the past, I would say, month and a half, maybe 2 months now, is an e.l.f. product. And I liked her matte formula a lot last year, but then I started seeing how quickly I had to move with it because it was so matte and it had such a fast drying ability that I couldn't keep up with it. But I really like this formula better. This is the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer in the satin finish. I do really enjoy this. I mean, look at this. You can already see this baby has been used. She's not quite empty, but she's getting real low. You can see how I am totally scraping the sides here. That's an endorsement in itself. However, I mean, I'm still only paying like $6 for this. And this little girl here is like, I'm going to have to look it up and it's going to hurt me to say it, but it's probably like near $20. But like I said, if you are a lady that loves makeup and you just have some fine lines, I've always had a very expressive face, as many of you guys know and comment on a lot. Sometimes you just need that little extra oomph and it's worth it. This is still a great formula, great drugstore option, again, like $6 or something. And I think she does a great job of concealing, but maybe not as good as moving with your skin when you're very expressive or maybe you already have some under eye creasing. She does great, but maybe just not as great as this one. So I still recommend her for concealing, spot fixing, like if you've got some pimples, and I've had some over the past few weeks, like in this area. She's done a great job of concealing those and giving you a nice coverage underneath here with a touch of brightening. I do like this. Again, like I said, I've almost used her all up and I've only had her not that long. And she's a great affordable option. You gotta appreciate that. The other thing that I had to try, and I haven't tried her probably in a couple of months because I've been trying so many other drugstore things that are in my drawer too, but I need to get back to her to see how she compares to this little baby. This is the Milani Conceal and Perfect Concealer. She's great. This baby is very similar to the foundation that I just told you I adore. The shade I have here is 120 Light Vanilla. I'm just going to do a quick swatch on my hand just to kind of remind myself of the formula. Yeah, look at that coverage. I mean, even just one swipe. She gives you some coverage, and the longer you let a concealer just settle down before you spread her out with a damp beauty sponge or a brush, the more coverage you're gonna get. She does give great coverage. She also kind of brightens under the eyes, especially if you pick a shade that's just a touch lighter than your foundation. That's how I like to still do my makeup. Maybe that's a 2016 thing, but I still love it. And she does work well with fine lines. Same with this foundation, because I've always had some forehead lines and I've always had lines under my eyes, even back in high school days. I always noticed them. I was always trying to conceal them or figure out the type of makeup that would work for me. Hence how this channel was probably born. And she is a bit more high coverage. I know we've kind of been leaning more towards natural makeup, definitely for this past year and a half now, and that might be why some of these more thick coverages have kind of fallen off my radar, and I've been doing a lot more of the lightening and brightening with thinner products. But when you pull something like this back out, you start to realize, dang, Mama's back. Like, Mama can look like she doesn't have a single pore on her face and it's all glass. So that's why sometimes you just want to love on these. Powders. Powders is the next category that it's hard to go through my collection as an oily skin girl and pull out the top 3. I don't want to offend any of the other ones that are in my drawer because I reach for them all the time too. But in the name of the game of pick your top 3, I had to think, okay, when I am even in a rush, when I have to do a very minimal face, get out the door, get on the Zoom, do all the things, which 3 are the ones that I know, trust, and do use? Not the ones that I could hypothetically use, but which ones do I use? This one was hard. This one was really hard. My makeup collection is like mad at me right now for having to get into some of these categories because I love so much. Last night and this morning as I was going through to pick my top 3, I can't lie to you, it was a journey in certain categories, and this was definitely one of them. The good news in this category is a lot of it is affordable and definitely won't shock most of you if you follow me here. The powder that I have been loving a lot, and I noticed I wasn't reaching for it as much, so I was like, girl, what's going on? Is the CoverGirl Advanced Radiance powder. This is a pressed powder, and as you can see, look at this. I mean, like, I'm literally scraping the perimeter here because this is probably my 5th, 6th, 7th, 10th one. I don't even know. But I was feeling like she wasn't performing how she normally does. And that happens sometimes because we're like, is my skin changing? Is it the season changing? Is it the base makeup that I'm using? Like, why is this not doing what she normally does? Because I've told you, this is a creamy pressed formula that can really conceal the under eyes, help smooth out any fine lines before you move on and maybe spray down. Also really helps you to keep that nose crevice area intact, keep it all together, great for touch-ups. Why am I not reaching for you? What's happening? And that's when I kind of realized I've used so much of the essence of the center part that this part's kind of aged and I've been trying other things. Maybe it's just time to let this one go. So what I did, I had a backup of this girl because I found her on sale one day a while back, and I used her this morning with some of these products I'm telling you about today, and I was like, oh yes, Mama's back. I think it was just time to kind of like get rid of the one that I was just working the rim on that was older, but also the creaminess, all of the essence, having enough product on the applicator was probably a factor. Because once I put this under my eyes, down my nose, and even just use it to set down the face, I was like, yes, this is the powder I signed up for. The packaging, I have still one little qualm about it. Like, why? Why is this mirror like this? Why is it teeny tiny? Why is it in the upper half where I can't even see my full face? I got a big face, okay? Like, why? CoverGirl, fix that. That aside, this powder, again, this is probably like my 10th, I don't know, 20th, 52nd, I don't know. I have used this so long that I've read about it for so much that y'all were probably like, we know this is going to be in there. Why is she saying this is a hard category? Because I've been using a lot of stuff this year and last year as far as powders go. But this one, inexpensive and always worth your money. I love this. Now we got to talk about a new family member to the collection. Because, as you guys know, I was trying other powders this year, and I think I may now be in the stage with this powder that I was with this first one that's got so much pan on it. Because there's a lot of pan on this girl, and the packaging is very worn down, but I have used her literally daily since I got her and discovered her creamy, pore filling, pore masking, pore blurring essence. And I'm not sorry that I'm definitely going to be buying her, but I need to find her this time in a less expensive store, because when I bought her, she was $17 at the drugstore. This is the CoverGirl Advanced Blurring Radiance. I don't know the full name because it's technically wiped off. It's like a Simply Ageless Instant Wrinkle Blurring Pressed Powder. I have now gotten to the same essential thing where I am taking a brush, because I don't like to use the pad too much for this because it's too blinding. It's too much almost. Like, it makes it look almost just like I've got a whole layer of powder on me. So I go in with a brush and I go around the perimeter and I press it into my skin in the areas that I need it most. And I've noticed her kind of being a little bit more chunky. I've kind of noticed it being less smoothing than she was. So, and I do see, as you can tell here, I don't know if you can see it or not in the camera, but there is a lot of loose powder in here. She is something that will have a lot of kickback to you. So I feel like using a brush is kind of the easiest to not waste product and things like that. But I'm starting to feel like I need to get a new one because she's not as amazing as she was when I first got her midway through. I think it's kind of starting to age, expire, and I'm, you know, reaching here around the rim and stuff. So it's not bad. I'm going to buy another one, but I'm going to find it where I can get it for way cheaper than $17, because I got this like the week it came out, and I told you guys I couldn't believe how good it was. New favorite, discovered this year. Love, love, love. Now, this is where it got really hard, because these two were kind of obvious to me when I made myself really think about it. Like, what can I not live without? Obviously. Makes sense. Now it started to feel like now I have to break a product's heart in my collection, because I use so many powders that I love and trust, especially in this time of year where it is hot and I could melt like an ice cream cone. But the truth of it is, ever since I received this product, after I use this and or this has been the powder that I have gone into every single day I'm wearing makeup. So I'm sorry if this part of the video is a little repetitive for my friends, but it's the honest to God truth. This is the Fenty Pro Filter Instant Retouch Powder in the shade Cashew. I have to be careful because one of the first times that I showed you guys this on camera, I kind of tilted the container over just a touch too much, and there was so much product in here, and it's so finely milled that it puffed out and went all over my laptop that lives right here when I am filming. And I'm still not convinced that I'm not gonna have some kind of long-term problem in there, because seriously, this is a lot of powder and it is super finely milled. It's gonna make me cough. And the reason I love this is because it also helps with my skin to look blurred, to look like it is seamless, and it's just a touch dark that what I get to do is kind of make my face look sun-kissed. So if I don't have time for the bronzers, the blushes, the whatever, or I'm just not in the mood to do a full face, but I just want to feel put together, because some days that's all we need, this is the powder that I will layer up right in this perimeter, kind of around the face, and it makes everything look beautiful. Makes me look natural, or it can make me look like I have a suntan. This has been a powder that helps with shine, helps brings things back together halfway through the day as well. Like if I'm noticing I'm trying a lot of products, maybe I'm not wearing all my favorites and something is breaking apart, something's looking oily, or maybe I went outside, took the dogs on a long walk in the summer, and all of a sudden I come back in and I'm like, oh, what did I do to my face? What did I do? This is the powder I can come back into to bring it all back together, take down the shine, make everything look smooth and seamless again. I love her. And I don't know if I've ever said this on camera, I have learned through trying a ton of the Fenty products through BoxyCharm, BoxyLuxe, Boxy Premium, and some of my own shopping, I think. I really don't like a lot of the Fenty products. So for me personally, it's not even like, oh, it's bougie, it's high end, I must tell you about it. No, there's a lot I don't like from Fenty. And this is a product that I'm like, you hit a home run with this. Do this more, because this is something that I have a backup of and I love it. Love, love, love it. Oh, this powder is starting to get all over the place. Okay, moving on now from powders, and as you know, there's a lot of other powders I love. A lot of other powders, so that's why it was really hard to get down to 3. Okay, so blush is definitely having a moment this year, and many of you guys know I'm not a total blush girl, and that's okay, but I have leaned into the blushes. I have been pretty avid of making sure I have blush on when I'm doing my makeup, because there's been plenty of times that I would be like, I'm a bronzer highlighter girl, who needs the blush? I feel like because of your influence, and I'm sure the influence of the way makeup trends come and go, I do enjoy, not love maybe, but enjoy, rely on a little bit of rosiness added into the cheeks to give it that warmth, to give it maybe a little bit more of a completed look. So I do have some favorite blushes, and I feel like this category maybe was a little tough for me, but for different reasons, because I really lately have only been gravitating to more matte blushes because I like so many other products that maybe have some glow or some shimmer to them that I really have only really been reaching for two. So pulling out a third one, I was kind of like, which one do I want? And it's probably not going to be the one you're thinking. The one that I noticed myself reaching for probably the most currently is something that I received in a Boxy Charm, I think a year ago now, and I was actually pretty frustrated and disappointed in it first because it was supposed to be a duo, like a highlighter and blush duo, and the highlighter part is a lie. It is just more of a lighter toned blush for me. This is the Kosas Papaya 1972 Color in Light Pressed Powders. This is the shade that I have been reaching for a lot, and it honestly reminds me of an e.l.f. shade that I used to use all the time. That was a very similar finish. She wasn't shimmery, but she had a little bit of a sheen to her. I believe it was called like Captive Coral or something coral, and I think that might be why I like this, because it's a natural shade for me to look like I got a little bit of maybe a little sun-kissed moment right up here on my cheeks, and it wasn't overwhelming. It wasn't too pinky toned. I'm not too much of a pinky toned girl, and it's very smooth. This one over here is, they call this one the highlighter. This is the one that frustrated me. I have married these two together to kind of wear on my cheeks when I don't want even like this much of a rosiness. And she does play really well on the skin. I think she's really pretty. This is the one that I think I'm reaching for probably the most at the moment. I would definitely say though the other one that I'm reaching for is something I purchased this year when I was wanting to kind of dive more into drugstore makeup, see what was new on the market. This is the NYX Sweet Cheeks blush. This is in the shade Summer Breeze, and this is probably the deepest I enjoy going, I would guess, because what your girl does is I don't even get like that really nice, to me, that the super blushy look, and it's probably my age. I'm sure it's because I'm an elder millennial, and I remember my mom doing all of those really rosy pink, not even rosy, it was just flat out vibranty pink, like as we use now for a bronzer. And I know that's a thing again. I just can't make myself do it. I can't do it, and it's okay. We all have different preferences, but I like to use a fluffier brush even with something like this, because then it diffuses the color, but it also gives it a nice beautiful spread, a beautiful blend on the face that you can kind of like take it here, pull it back a bit, maybe go a touch over the nose if you want to for just that warmed up W look, little sunburnt look is what some people I think call it. And then you just kind of like, you just have a touch there. And then like today, I've even been known, because I feel like, oh, that's just a little too much for me, I'll still go in with one of my other favorite powders that isn't in this video, just to kind of like wear it all down to make it all look like one. And that's how I like to do blush, honestly. So I had a hard time right now thinking of a third, because I've not been gravitating to shimmerier products for my blushes like I used to, because I used to really love the Hourglass blush, the ambient light one. Still like it. I even talked about it in a recent video I did last Thursday, and if you missed that video where I'm talking about BoxyCharm products that you guys were like, do you even still like this? I don't know if I've heard you talk about this in a while. I'll link that above for you right there. But something else that I have in my collection, because I don't have a ton in my collection compared to some of these other categories, I would say is for this season, I'm going to have something different in the winter season. I can tell you that, because I've got more like first half of the year blushes and a lot of other makeup, and I have more like colder seasoned blushes, because there are some other deeper, richer ones that I really love too. But this is the one I could tell you that has been maybe in the rotation with these. This is the Ciate Marbled Light blush in the shade Dusk. It's got a little bit of a variant color in there, as you can see, and she does have a little bit of sheen to her. There's no glitter, and the finish just kind of makes it look like healthy skin. If you apply it in certain areas on your face, it doesn't get overwhelming. So that's why this is something that I felt like I could use with the other products that I enjoy, because I would never just wear blush without a bronzer or without, but a lot of times this summer what I've been doing is, which is weird for me, bronzers with a touch of blush and then no highlighter, because some of the products have had enough shimmer in them and we're not really in this like streak of highlighter moment, and maybe it was too hot to keep layering all the things, and I'm oily, all that stuff. But that is a way that I've been using it. So like this may be one I would go into if I wasn't gonna wear highlighter. One of my favorite categories is bronzer. And this was hard for me too, because I feel like certain days get certain bronzers. If I'm in a certain mood, if I want to layer it, if I want just a very nice dusting, if I want to act like it's going to be a little bit of a contour and then buff some of it out to look like a bronzer, I've got a lot of options for bronzers in my collection and I really like them. It's one of my favorite pieces of makeup. So I had to really pull it in, and I noticed something brand new from BoxyCharm. And I let you guys know we've been getting a lot of the same category type of makeup from BoxyCharm, it felt like. So I did a recent, like, would you rather with them, because I was like, well, let's play a game out of this, because we're getting this, you know, similar category stuff. Let's see what I'm liking. I noticed one of those made it into the top 3. And considering how much I have and how much I have tried, I'm curious if I'm going to feel the same way in the winter. So maybe I will do this again in the winter months. Something that should not surprise a lot of people is the first thing that I can tell you that I have loved so much that I have hit pan on, and I do have a backup now thanks to one of you guys who was like, I found it, I'm sending it to you. This is the Too Faced Chocolate Gold Soleil bronzer. Look at all that pan. I have this across my face today, but I also have it a touch on the shoulders and on the chest, because this is a shade and a formula that works so well that you can build up, and it looks like a suntan. So it helps me to even out, like sometimes when I have some tan lines, she helps to blend it out. But also, this formula blurs. I have looked for nice, pearly, I don't know how to say it. Like, I have looked for bronzers that have some shimmer to them to give you that healthy skin glow without looking like you have sparkles on your face, that sink the glittery shininess into your pores to make everything look textured. None of that happens with this. This is witchcraft in a compact, and I do think it's disappearing. This is another one of the things that I'm like, why are you leaving me? Don't leave. Because every now and again she'll be on Ulta or the Too Faced website, and then other times it's just the mini, or it's just the sister product that's the Chocolate Soleil. And it could just be because shimmery products get a bad rap, but it's like, shimmery bronzer, no, I don't want that. It's not in trend. Or they're worried it's going to, like I just said, get into their pores and make everything look textured. This does not. This blurs. This blurs. I don't know how they do it, but I needed a backup, and one of you lovingly sent me one because you were like, I found it, I'm giving it to you. Because look how much pan I have on this. Look at it. I love this on my face. I can build it up. I can do more than one layer of it, and it still does not make this oily skin girl with bossy pores look a wreck. If anything, it just makes me look blurred and suntanned. And like I've been maybe getting a little bit more vitamin D than I have, or I can blend out when I have gotten a touch when I'm walking the dogs. You know what I mean? I love this, as you can tell, because I'm just rambling about how much I love this. So it surprised me. I know a lot of people don't like shimmery bronzers, but this shocked me. So I knew that one was going to be in this mix. I knew it. So the question was going to be, which matte bronzers are you going to talk about? Because I do love a matte bronzer moment, especially, like I said, I'm trying to kind of like not put everything shimmery on my face with a highlighter, all the things. So if I'm wanting to pull out some of my favorite highlighters and some of the Becca products I've purchased this year, I feel like I shouldn't be all up on this and then adding that too. Well, sometimes I do, but you know, we gotta balance some things sometimes. So I repurchased this, was it the end of last year or the beginning of this year? And I do notice that I can use this as a nice bronzer, or I can use it as a easy, gentle contour for like down the nose, maybe carving out a little bit of the cheeks, maybe on the jawline, wherever I need it. And then I can take a different style of brush, maybe fluffier, and then use it as a bronzer all over my face. And it works great. It's a creamy formula, and it's the No. 7 formula. I have heard some people compare this formula to some high-end brands. This one here is in the shade Maple. This is the number 7 bronzer. I had one, panned it, and I kind of just like tried to get it out of my brain, but I kind of couldn't. And then one day, I don't remember again if it was last year or this year, I randomly stumbled across it in a drugstore, and I'm hardly ever in actual drugstores anymore. And I was like, I feel like this is a sign from the makeup gods. I need you. I need this back in my life. And I had been thinking about it, even though I have some other things in my collection. A standalone bronzer like this, because I've got some other good ones in palettes, but a good standalone to travel with or just reach out for when you're not needing all those other things. This is something that I have definitely used up even more. And I'm curious, because I know how long this sucker lasts. I'm really curious how long it'll take me to see pan on this one, because there's a lot of product in here, and it goes a long way. The newer product that I have fallen in love with is something that I didn't think I was going to like, because this brand and I, we have this like, how are you doing? We have like this acquaintance relationship, but it's not like anytime that there's a new makeup drop, or if I know they're coming in my BoxyCharm, I'm not exactly thrilled. But this one stands out to me for really good reasons. This is the iconic London Ultimate Bronzing Powder. Mine here is in the shade Light Bronze, and she really performs. I can use her kind of similarly that I can use the number 7 bronzer, and maybe that's why I immediately started recognizing the quality in this one. But what I particularly like to do with her is grab my Alamar brush that's on an angle, kind of go in each side. She does have a little bit of kickback to her. That means she's pigmented though, but she's a little messy. You get a big pan here, big pan. And then I can just kind of like start carving out the cheeks, going up the forehead. I can even just kind of carve out the nose just a touch with this. And it's a very creamy formula. It doesn't pull the foundations or the underlying makeup and make it a little messy, because some things do that. I don't have to worry about this too much, and it's a great shade for me that I can also build it. Not all bronzers can be built. This one I can build up to make it warmer, make it look a little bit more contoury if I want to on certain areas. This one's really impressed me, and I'm surprised how much I do reach for this, even over things that I know I love. These included some days. So I had to tell you, this one is really hitting home for me this year. I'm really excited. Highlighters. This category still sucks because there's only 3. And now, okay. Obviously, as you guys know, I made some purchases this year with my girl Becca and my girl Natasha and a few other girls. We got a lot of friends here. We got a lot of friends. And I obviously couldn't talk about all of them, but all of their formulas are great. So I'd be stupid to not start with this, because we know this is the elephant in the room that I've already hit pan on. I think have 2 backups of this now. And I'm not sorry because Becca's leaving and I'm freaking heartbroken. But this is my Champagne Pop. I immediately hit pan on her within probably like 3 or 4 months. I don't know, maybe that's an exaggeration. Maybe it was more like 4 or 5, but I've never hit pan on a highlighter the way I have on this, because this shade, I mean, this is why it's so popular. It is known to not only be a super creamy, buttery formula, but the particular shade I'm holding, Champagne Pop, is a formulation that works with so many skin types and skin tones. That is so hard to do. So hard to do. And this is something I can wear on my face. I can wear on the body. I can wear on the eyes. And I can even layer her up and she does not show my texture. And you know, your girl with pores and bossy, oily skin has texture. It's there. I just try to use the best products I can to not accentuate it, to not show it. And this has just been something I love. It is a very finely milled, gorgeous, reflective. Look at these. The reflective properties in this are just, I'm really just, I'm dumbfounded. I have no words. I'm dumbfounded with how Becca could possibly be closing their doors when they are the inventor of this. I don't know what's going to happen in my future once I have no more Becca products, and hopefully something comes along that's just as great. But it's been many categories in my makeup, but this will always have a special place in my heart. But the only way I got this was from one of you guys. I don't remember if this was last year or the year before at this point, because these past few years have been crazy. I'm pretty sure one of you guys sent this to me just because you couldn't use it, it wasn't working for you, or maybe you had duplicates and you wanted me to have it. Thank you. This is why we're friends, and I love you because, like, as much as I love gifting to you guys, I love that you guys are like, no, you have to try this. You're trying this, and I'm sending it to you. It was hard because I have so many great highlighters and so many things that deserve honorable mention, but we'd be here all day, and this is already really long. So let's not beat around the bush. We know Ofra is like for me, this is like the other amazing highlighter brand style in my collection. This is the oldest compact I have of theirs, and you can see this is Rodeo Drive. This color in particular, similar to Champagne Pop, is known to be a more golden tone, where the other one's obviously more champagne pinky. This one also goes with so many skin tones and so many skin types because of the formula and the way that they've done this color. Oh, again, buttery. Glides on your skin and does not emphasize texture. How does witchcraft happen? I don't know, but I have a feeling since Ofra is still going to be in the market and Becca isn't, this is an opportunity for them to really come through, because this is the other thing that a lot of people love, myself included. Love, love, love. And I do have this in other versions as well. This is just the oldest compact that I've been working on for a while. And the last one. How you doing, girl? I don't mean for all of this to be high end. This is just what is the honest truth about what I love. Screw it. I'm just going to tell you a little sidebar that's inexpensive if you need an inexpensive one, because I love you and I want you to know what's out there that's affordable too. I talked about it in my last video. Go check it out. I'm just going to quickly say the Beauty Creations Cali Glow. This formula, very reminiscent of the Becca and Ofra formulas. Also great skin ranges, things like that. And this is like, I think I got this in a BoxyCharm, but you can get it in the BoxyCharm pop-up for like $6. The last one I'm going to talk about here is the Natasha Denona Glow. I got this in a BoxyCharm. I had never spent some of the high dollars on it, so that's why I'm so grateful for BoxyCharm, because I get to try some of this high-end stuff. This is the All Over Glow. This one here is in the shade 01 Light, but I loved it so much I also bought the 02, and that's what I've been reaching for the most this summer. But the 01 is kind of universal. I can wear this on my face, I can wear this on my eyes, I can wear it on the body. It is great. It's an all over glow for that reason. It's called All Over Glow. These are the top 3 highlighters in my collection that it'll be hard to dethrone these 3. I'm not gonna lie. Gonna be hard. Guess it helps when one of the brands decides to take their ball and go home. I'm so sad. Okay, brows. I'm going to talk about this really quickly because I feel like 1, this video is getting really long, but 2, you hear me talk about brow products all the time because I do have a little bit more of a bold brow, but it's mostly because I got a lot of real estate up there for it, but I don't always have a lot of hair for it. So I am so grateful to these products to help me fill in the real estate of my brows up here, because these are things that I've reached for a ton. Starting with inexpensive, because I do like to kind of go a little bit more drugstore from time to time. This is the e.l.f. Ultra Precise Brow Pencil. I'm pretty sure I got this for like $6. And look how fine that tip is. I love using this in particular to kind of draw out some of the hairs up front for me, because that's where things can get a touch sparse. Kind of draw it in up front a little bit, go through the spoolie, and then go in with a darker powder. It really helps set everything up for success, and this is how I start my brows nearly every single day, is with a very thin pencil, and I love that I can just get this for really inexpensive, like $6. The one that I like that's a little bit higher end of that type of version is something that I got from a BoxyCharm that I was ready to hate on, but I did just repurchase this in a BoxyCharm add-on because this $1 Billion Brows shade is definitely not taupe, but it says it's taupe. So I thought for sure I was going to be like, I really needed an ultra thin one because I had just run out of my e.l.f., right? And I've purchased that one now a couple times. But this one said it was in the shade, it said, like, hey, I'm in the shade taupe. And I was like, oh no, I need dark. Look how dark my hair is. This finely tipped brow pencil is not taupe. My blondes in the audience will attest to that. Us brunettes, we're cool with it, but the blondes in the audience are like, yeah, definitely not taupe. Made it hard for me. This is a very creamy formula. I'm literally have it pressed up as high as I could for this insert because I'm that low. I am down to practically nothing. I'm so glad that they had this in the add-ons for $4 because I just got it, or at least I purchased it. I probably won't see it for a couple of weeks knowing how they ship, but this is so creamy. But as you know, not too creamy. To really draw in those front parts of the brows really helps me kind of like carve out the brow, and then I go in with other things to darken it up, to kind of blend it out. But this I could just use alone if I wanted to, but I would definitely waste a lot of product because I feel like I went through this really quickly, because this is their waterproof micro brow pencil. I think what I like about this is the waterproof version makes, you know, this says it's waterproof. So it doesn't move around on my face. If it's hot, which it has been, it's not like they're kind of getting all crazy on me, but it's still pretty easy to wash off at the end of the day. I just hate how quickly I can go through them. And I have to give honorable mentions. I have so many products from this brand that I love, but this is the one I've had the longest and hit pan on. This is a Brow Bar by Rima, and when I say I'm going to start with a pencil and then go in with a powder, this is what I'm talking about. And you can definitely see how I've hit pan on this, and I've hit pan on the black. The dark palette from the True Glam Makeover Kit works so well for me. Take a little brush, kind of pop in there after I've done a pencil, and then just fill in my brows. And you guys can see I have very dark brows. Ever since I went darker with my hair, I've needed to kind of even up my brow game. And Brow Bar by Rima has been awesome. This is not sponsored, but they do send me some PR from time to time. This one I got in a BoxyCharm though. That's how I was introduced to them, and I love them. Now I gotta talk about eyeshadow palettes. I still have 4 sitting on my desk. So all right, I think I know what I'm gonna do, but it's gonna hurt a bit. So I need you to hear me out. Oh, eyeshadow palettes. I could talk all day about eyeshadow palettes. This is the top makeup piece for me. I feel in my bones, because that's the part of makeup that no matter where I'm at in my makeup journey, that's the exciting part. That's the icing on the cake. That's what gets me going of like, this is the look today. Is it bold? Is it neutral? Is it sexy? Where am I going? And I feel like the eyes have it. It's like the eyes have the soul, you know what I mean? So I'm going to tell you about the one that I'm now kind of just taking out of this top 3, but it's not because I don't love her. You've heard me talk about her so much here on my channel if you've been with me a while, but it is a bigger palette, and I really, really want this person to come up with a smaller version of this palette, and then I feel like it will be unstoppable. Also, give me a volume 2, 3, and 4. And that's the Tarte Beauty palette. This was the first thing that I was like, oh my gosh, yes, this is the obvious given. And it's on my lids today as this creamy base down here, because I was like, what do I have that's opaque, creamy, and doesn't require a lot of work? This formula is standout. She only has a volume 1 palette at this moment. I truly, truly hope she comes out with more, and I think she's going to. She's just going through some stuff behind the scenes right now, and I get it. I'm so glad Tate's back on YouTube. This is still a top contender for me, but I definitely haven't been reaching for her as much as I was before, but it's because I've had to rearrange these drawers. You know, I got a lot of makeup, and this baby is huge. If she could just come up with like, this is the neutrals palette for her. If she could just give me like these 2 in a palette, or maybe like these 3, Ritual, Soothe, and Aura Rose, if she could put that in a smaller palette, that could live in my tire up drawer and I'd use it all the time. Her formula, I don't know how she does it and makes it so creamy. And even the glitters, I'm not reaching for glitters right now, but you don't even need a glitter glue, and it will just be gorgeous on your lids and not really fall off. And it'll stay all day. She hit the ball out of the park with this, and so many of us are waiting for her to come back to us. But that's not in my top 3 because I haven't been using her as much. And I'm a little basic this year, guys, and I could apologize, but it just kind of is how it is. But kind of like earlier when I said Becca, you know, Becca highlighters, like I have many colors in her collection, but Champagne Pop was clearly the standout. So I'm going to tell you my clear standout for some of these brands that you still know I got a category of their products in these drawers that I trust and love. Where do I go? Okay, you know what? I'm going to start with the one that y'all probably are guessing is going to be in here. And that's the Wander Beauty Getaway palette. I'm going to quickly talk about this because I feel like I've talked about her a lot this year. She showed up in my beauty space in February after I got her from a BoxyCharm. Didn't think she was going to be great. It's like, I have all these neutrals. I don't need another neutral palette. Okay, I'll try it in the name of reviewing and what I do here on this platform. And holy balls. She shocked me. She made me stop and go, Wander. I get a lot of you in my boxes, and never have I gone, I must talk about you every month. I must bring you up in every possible occasion because I use this so frequently. Fast mornings, glam mornings, no matter what I'm doing, if I'm putting on my makeup and I'm wanting to reach for something, this has stood out to me the most this year. So I would be a lying liar face if I didn't tell you she's in my top 3 for this year. Absolutely is. Neutral lover's dream, but the formula's great. Not all formulas are equal, trust me. And this one, I feel like she hit a home run. I have so much pain on her, and I got her in February. I know I've talked about her a lot this year, so I'll kind of pull back. But there's one really new product here that I'm going to talk about that this is, I'm just going to say it. She's reminded me of how good this formula is. I haven't gotten a lot of new eyeshadows from ColourPop this year. I kind of been getting a lot from Boxy, as you guys know. We were getting a palette a month there for a while, and now they kind of backed off on it. So I kind of felt like I was liberated to have enough room and to, you know, investigate my own what I want. And I know this is basic. This is the New Moods palettes that I got very recently that I told you about, and I've already got a pretty strong indent in some of these shades. And I'll tell you, it's because it reintroduced the formula to me on how dang good the ColourPop formula is. And it's so inexpensive. It's almost like, I'm almost glad this company never sleeps. At the same time, I get frustrated with how much they release, because then there's always something for everyone, and their products are amazing, their quality is great, and the prices are great because they're inexpensive. The only thing I wish about this one is that it had a mirror, because I find myself, I took this on my honeymoon getaway weekend with my husband, and I was kind of needing a mirror because those hotel mirrors are never easy to get to. And I know this is like, Nicole, how basic could you be? You just talked about the Wander Beauty palette that's totally neutrals, and now you're doing this. Yes, but these are warm tones. These are rich tones, and this was even reminding me how good the formula was with them. So I've been using another palette from them recently, and I've got other stuff that I've been loving again from ColourPop, and it's thanks to rediscovering. And this palette's really good. I know she looks a little basic, but she's real good. I love her. Not sorry. And then a lot of you guys know we got a lot of Natasha this year, and I'm so grateful because I feel like I was manifesting that last year, and I had asked you guys in my BoxyCharm year-end videos with your votes and your awards, what did you want to see more of? And when you said Natasha, I feel like they heard you, because I fell in love with a lot of the Natasha palettes this year, and I'm so glad that they were putting these in the pop-ups and add-ons. This one I did get in a box though. This is the Ayana palette. This one is going to be a fall lover's dream, but also I've been using her all year, as a lot of you guys know, but I have a lot of other things from her. This is just the one that I feel like is the one that's top of mind for me, because I could start an eye look with this, and then if I want to get colorful, which doesn't happen a ton, but it does happen, I can go into some of the other palettes that I have from her in this drawer right here up front for me. The Natasha formula has been something I've loved playing with this year, and this one happens to be the one, the Ayana palette, that I do use a lot, even if it's just as a base. The eyeshadow one that was really hard for me, and I sat here for a very long time. I could go on and on and on. So the next thing I have to talk to you about is mascaras, because this is a long video. I'm going to really quickly tell you 2 of the 3 I have currently. A lot of you guys know I love a good drugstore mascara, and these Essence Princess line are amazing. It's a Lash Princess line. This one here is the False Lash Effect. This one's in the green tube, as a lot of us know. But the one that's really taken my heart is the Volume Mascara. I know there's a newer one that's kind of going around right now, and I need to try that. I've not yet, but I've had these 2, and I want to use them up because they have a shorter lifespan. So this is the one that has more of a curved wand, and the one that I feel like is just amazing. On my getaway anniversary weekend, I forgot an eyelash curler, and since this one has some curve to her, and she's the volume one, I literally just kept layering her up and layering her up, and I had enough curl in my lash without an eyelash curler to make it through without making myself crazy, because I've got very straight lashes. I mean, I was like, that's an endorsement, right? And the other one that I don't have right now is the one that we got from Boxy, and I think it was the Fenty one. I really liked that mascara. I didn't like some of the other stuff we've gotten this year, and I feel like I've gotten a lot of duds, but that one was a standout to me. The Fenty one, after I kind of gave it a moment, let it live its life, it really allowed my lashes to separate, elongate, and be a statement where I didn't feel like I needed. I think that was the mascara that kind of got me away from wearing lashes this year, because I was pulling them out there for a while pretty consistently, and then I feel like once I got that one, I was just kind of like, oh, I don't need it. I know some people in these videos have been doing eyeliners, but honestly, I don't wear a lot of eyeliners. If I am wearing an eyeliner, I will use this Hank & Henry in Blickety Black or a ColourPop, but a lot of times, like with today's eye look, I felt like I needed just a touch because I have on false lashes and my eyes are kind of big, so they don't always meet right in there. So a lot of times I am using eyeshadows as liners. I'll just take a finely tipped or brow brush and kind of go into those areas, or if I'm wanting to do a colorful one, I'll use a thinner, more detailed brush for eyeshadows, and that's kind of what I do a lot of times for my eyeliner. So let's talk about lipsticks, because I do love a good lip, and yeah, we've been neutral the past year or two, so a lot of these are nudes. But I do have some of these brands in other shades, obviously, and the formula on these are amazing. And that's the real reason I'm talking about these for lipsticks, because the formula has to be good for me to want to put it on and commit to it for like all day. My current love is something that I got from the Ulta 21 Day Sale, and this right here is a formula you're very familiar with that I love. This is the Ofra Long Lasting Liquid Lipstick. This one here is in the shade Manila, and this is what I'm wearing on my lips today. I have had Miami Fever from BoxyCharm. I have had Sao Paulo. I've had a lot of different shades in this formula, and I love it. I recently got the Nudes collection from Ofra from the Ulta 21 Day Sale, and I've got a couple others in here that I am really enjoying as well as far as their colors go. But this formula, it is matte, and I know liquid lipsticks for some reason are back out. They're out of trend or whatever, but I still love them because they keep my makeup on all day long, even when I am drinking tea and I've got some glosses on. It stays on all day, and it stays on after a mask, all those things. So I really love that formula. And then another one that I almost don't want to talk about this one because I feel like it's mean, because you can't buy this particular one anymore. But I had some backups of the ColourPop Aquarius 2. I really loved the Aquarius. They were the Kathleen Lights collection, but I ran out of that because I used up all my backups. But I still have Aquarius 2. I do love the ColourPop liquid lipsticks, but I really miss their Satin line. Apparently they just decided to not sell that anymore, and that breaks my heart. Is there a backup for that, or is there a way to get that? Because I love that. But the Aquarius 2 is my favorite, but I hate to mention this because you can't get it unless you find it somewhere, maybe on a Mercari or a Poshmark. But I do like their formulas. And the other lipstick that I loved, I needed to pull out a bullet, right? And I do love, while you still can get it, the Becca line. Damn it, I am gonna miss Becca. The one I have here is in the shade Sugar. And it is a neutral shade, but it looks really great if you put a gloss on top of it, or if you have a darker liner underneath and it kind of just gives you a little bit more of that nice finish. I love the formula on her lipsticks because they do move with your lips and they don't smear through the line really. They don't get all over your face. I love the formula. I ended up buying, I think, 2 more. I've got 2 more sitting up here too. I was an anti-lipstick stick bullet person because I liked the liquid lips so much for so long, and I felt like these weren't that great, or they were hard to use, or maybe they were uncomfortable to apply because maybe it was too waxy. These are not. Super creamy, but also last. They don't just come off immediately when you're drinking tea or water throughout the day. Now let's get into some glosses, and I just repurchased a gloss that I told you guys last year was a top fave, and I finally found it in a Mercari, and I wasn't sorry that I bought it. What I have on top of my lips today is the Lartsy gloss in the shade Vibe. I'm gonna apply just a touch for you now. These glosses shocked me. I don't know why. At first I was just like, oh, okay, another gloss, another neutral, whatever. And I wasn't as impressed. And then when I started really kind of leaning into more glosses, because I think because I do drink a lot of water through the day and I know it can get messy with long hair, a lot of wind, it can get all kinds of messy up in here with a gloss. I discovered how good these were. They don't stay goopy, they don't stay tacky, they have a beautiful finish. It kind of juices your lips up to make your lips look a little plumper, a little bit vibrant. And I just kept comparing every gloss I got to this one. So finally, I just got on a Mercari and was like, I'm starting an account just so I can find this and buy it. And I did. And I really love it. I think it is a great color for my skin tone as well. It's got like a brown pinky nude shade to it that goes really well with a lot of different lip colors, makeup colors, and my skin. The next thing I will say that I have really loved is something that I've had for a long time, and I have multiples, and I think they came from BoxyCharms, but they are the iconic London Plumping Lip Gloss. I have a few different shades. This one here is in the shade Love Struck, and I love the tingle with these because they do have a little tingly cooling sensation that kind of, I don't know, maybe it does plump up my lips a little bit, but this is also a formula that I think does a really nice job of plumping the lips. And the doe foot applicator is very pliable. It kind of moves with your lips. It's been a formula that I have really loved for over a year now, and it's one that I can trust to take with me on the go to do reapplications or start my day with and know it's not going to be all over the place. I really like it. And one of the newer things to my collection is the Merit Lip Oil. I use this as a gloss quite a bit. This is Au Naturel, and I feel like this really lasts longer than I thought it would for a lip oil that I kind of use as a gloss. I will put this over either a liner or maybe a basic lip, and it works really nicely, and it makes my lips feel very hydrated throughout the day. Oh, good golly, guys, this was a really long video of me kind of giving you my top threes, but also why they're my top threes. So if you have skin similar to me, hopefully this helps you in your makeup journeys, whether it's high-end or drugstore, to find out, is it worth your time? Is it worth your dollars? Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you happen to be new to my loud, weird, crazy, unique channel, hi new friends, I really hope you take a quick moment to hit that subscribe button down below so you don't miss out on all of the upcoming videos I have. I do have some more BoxyCharm videos coming for you this month, along with some other great things, and October's around the corner. You guys know I have a Halloween special I do every year for you. Bye, friends.